We're in the middle of a series entitled Walking in Wisdom. It's basically taken from the book of Proverbs. From those of you that maybe have done some extensive studies in Proverbs, one of the things that you know is that there are 17 subjects that the writer of Proverbs, which is Solomon, wrote about. And so literally Solomon's teaching his son Rehoboam, and he's sitting him down and he says, hey, I want to give you snippets. But throughout the book of Proverbs, he'll talk about things. So he might talk about generosity and say, hey, I need you to understand the first fruits, they really belong to the Lord. He may go on and he may talk about another subject. Hey, you need to understand the thing that you give the most in life is you give your words, and there's power in your words. Your words can create life, your words can create death, and you need to understand that. But there's these themes that he'll jump around and he will spend some time talking about. Today we're going to deal with one that every one of us deal with on a regular basis, and that is we are going to deal with the theme. We're going to deal with the subject of what Proverbs says about anger. In Proverbs 29 and verse 22, it says, a hot-tempered man. I really believe in this politically correct world, we should add women to that. A hot-tempered man starts fights and gets into all kinds of trouble. The simple truth is that anger gets you into trouble. That's the simplest thought. It gets you into things that are going to cause trouble for you, cause trouble for other people, and that's what he says. Now, one of the things that we know right now in our world is that anger is rampant. It is everywhere. There's no place that you go that you don't feel levels of anger. There's no place that you go that you're not offered the opportunity to be angry. It is rampant. It is occurring at an unprecedented scale. Every day I'm offered opportunities. Be mad at this. No, be mad at this. You could be really mad at this. You could be really upset at this. Here's something you could be angry at. Here's something that you could really be. It is an unparalleled scale of anger out there. But the thing that makes this generation unique from Rehoboam, who's being taught these truths, is technology. Technology has become an amplifier of anger. It amplifies anger. And what it does is it makes it easier to be mad. It just makes it easier to be mad. It not only makes it easier to be mad, but it makes it easier to stay mad, and it makes it easier to be mad about a lot of things. So what technology has done is it's allowed us to go and be mad and to have longer lasting madness, because all I have to do is turn on any kind of digital platform and I'm going to be inundated by information that can irritate me. There is no break from it. It's all around me. It's everywhere. And here's the thing. I can share my anger widely. All I've got to do is hit send. I can say, have you seen this video? Have you heard this quote? Have you been exposed to this moment? Why don't you take a peek at this? I can send anger out at a speed that is quicker. You know, one of the interesting things is that I love history. And when I love history and you begin to study it, there's a lot of things that people get concerned about today that have already happened in our nation. One of the things people get concerned about is if you don't have certain opinions, if you don't have certain preferences, then it's going to become illegal to have those opinions or those preferences. But anyone who studied history knows that's already happened in our nation, because you can go back to when John Adams was president, our second president, in case people don't know, and they had instituted a law by the Federalists that basically said this: if you ever criticize the Federalists, Federalist, you could be thrown in jail. If you didn't endorse the Federalist view, you could be thrown in jail. And people are sitting there and they're saying, hey, people are trying to destroy this and they're trying to destroy that. It's already happened in our country. It happened with our second president. You know who stood up against it? Thomas Jefferson. He said, you know what? We're not going to have the management of speech. We're not going to have this. We're not going to have that. And he confronted John Adams and the Federalists repeatedly. He says, all you're doing is duplicating exactly what we fought against, that one person has one voice and everyone has to have that voice. And so people are saying, we don't know that our nation will survive. It's already survived it. It's already survived it. But here's the interesting thing about technology. When Lincoln became president, one of the things that concerned them the most was that there was a new technology out there, and the new technology was the telegraph. And the telegraph, for the first time, allowed the results of a presidential election to be known immediately. And do you know what everyone was concerned about? They were concerned, could people handle the speed of the telegraph? Could they handle that no longer was news going to be distributed by basically me having to get on a horse and go to the next community and tell them what results were and to tell them what things were going on and to tell them now it was almost going to be instant in their world. It was going to be faster than the horse, and nothing could be faster than the horse. And they were so concerned that technology would do it. And then they had this concern. Well, what if someone puts out on the telegraph something that isn't true? Can you believe they were concerned about someone putting out on technology something that's not true? Well, what if they put out something that's not so? People will believe it. Because if the telegraph says it, it's got to be true. Can you believe they thought people were that dumb? That someone would just believe everything on a technological device, that it's absolutely been vetted, that it's absolutely true, that it's absolutely so, that it is right on all the time? Can you believe they ever thought people were that dumb? But they thought technology was going to destroy because everyone's going to know the results of this election. It's not going to give the emotional time for people to process their emotions wisely. But see, we live in a time where anger is so rampant because technology offers us the speed. We can not only be mad, but we can stay mad, and we can be mad, and we can stay mad about a whole lot of things. But then it's not only that, but that anger is justifiable. See, if I'm mad, it's righteous. If you're mad, it's wrong. See, it's all right for me to be mad, but if you're mad, step back now. Mine's righteous mad. I have people come to me and say, well, Jesus was mad one time. He kicked out the money changers. And I look at him and I said, hey, don't go with the Jesus thing, because here's the difference. Jesus was mad one time. You're mad all the time. Nothing like Jesus. But now our mad is justifiable. It's legitimized. Everyone's anger is just legitimate. So anger's more rampant because of technology. It can go faster, it can go further, it can last longer because once you put it out there, it stays out there. Anger's justifiable. I have a right to be mad. My cause gives me the right to be mad, and I'm going to be mad, and I'm going to say, and anger is frequent because it is the new normal. When's the last time you walked into a room where someone wasn't mad? We're talking about at your house. When's the last time? See, it's the new normal. And the thing about anger is this: it causes you to say things that you shouldn't. It just causes you to say things that you know you shouldn't. So when I get angry, I say something but I just shouldn't. When I hit send, I say something that I can never take back. Because anger's more red than apologies. And so anger gets out there. And it's not only do you say things, but you do things you shouldn't. Here's the real scary thing. Anger takes you places that you shouldn't go, and it keeps you there longer than you should stay. That's what anger does. It takes you places you shouldn't go. Well, I know I shouldn't feel this way. Took you someplace you shouldn't go. Well, I know I shouldn't think this way. It took you someplace that you shouldn't go. See, anger will take you places you know you shouldn't go, and it will keep you there longer than you should stay. That's what anger does. It'll take you on a journey. Hey, go here with me. You go there, and then you stay there. And you go there, and you know you shouldn't go there, but you go there. Now, see, Jesus referred to this. And he referred to it in the New Testament in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. And he says, but I say to you that whoever is angry. Man, I love the way that's put. Whoever is angry. Nowadays, we couldn't write that because everyone's angry. It's not whoever. It's not a question. Whoever's angry, it's just point any direction. It's a target-rich environment. Everybody's angry. Everybody's angry. But I say to you, whoever is angry, he's in danger. Do you know what he said about anger? It endangers you. It says that anger creates danger for you. And then the first thing he says is it creates judgment. Because individuals start looking at you and they start saying, well, they shouldn't talk like that. They shouldn't think like that. They shouldn't behave like that. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't respond like that. They shouldn't. And what's happening is he says, it'll create judgment. People will start looking at you and shaking their head and, my goodness. My goodness. They just shake their head. But then he goes on and he says the danger when anger is in check goes a little bit different. And he says, and they will stand before the council. This was their court of law. Because even in our society, we have laws that say that anger can only go so far. And if you go beyond that point, law's gonna step in. So he says at first, when danger comes, people are going to look at you and shake their head. But then society's going to look at you and shake its head. But then he goes on and he says, and you shall be in danger of hell. God's going to look at you and shake his head. Nobody nods at you when you're angry. They shake their head. First individuals, then society, and then God. He says you're in danger of hell. He says that anger will take you places you shouldn't go. You don't want to go to hell. That's the phrase that we use secularly. We tell people to go to when we don't enjoy them. Nobody says, I want to go there. We want others to go there. But Jesus says when you're angry, you're in danger of taking yourself there. A little too much church there on a Sunday morning. Sorry about that. But see, anger takes you places that you shouldn't go. It just takes you places. But here's the thing that you've got to understand about anger is you don't feed it. Anger has an appetite. I have a puppy at home. This puppy sees everything as something that it should eat. It just wants to eat everything. If you have something in your hand, that is a sign that he's supposed to eat it. His appetite is bigger than his reality. Well, see, that's what anger is. See, some people need to put anger on a diet. You just don't feed it. See, the world has become a buffet for anger. You know what a buffet is. Usually 2 lines, 2 sides. You walk down it. And the thing about a buffet is it's not one item. It can be everything. I mean, you walk down and, they have over here something and they have over there, and you can say, I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick, well, come on, I'm just going to pick one of each. And you can go down a buffet and you can just have 1 plate, but the thing about it is you can go back through and you can have 2 plates. It's a buffet. See, that's what the world is when it comes to anger, is you get to pick what you want. Some of you picked certain things to be your angry part. And do you know what? You get mad at people who didn't pick your anger. Isn't that amazing about anger? You get angry at people who didn't pick your anger. You picked this. Well, hey, pork chops. You didn't pick the pork chops. You should have picked the pork chops. You just picked the fried chicken. Some of you right now are just hoping I'll quit because I'm making you hungry. But see, that's the way anger is you go down there and it says, you can pick any of this. No, I want a pork chop. I want fried chicken. No, I want some roast beef over here. I want this, I want that. And see, you get to pick it. And you get to pick as much as you want. You just pick as much as you want. And see, that's what anger is right now. This world is a buffet. And it's giving you a lot of selections. And you get to choose how much you pick. How much you pick. And so basically the world has become, as far as anger is concerned, the Golden Corral buffet. No, I don't get paid for endorsing them. But there's plenty for everyone. Take 2 plates, take 3 plates of anger, whatever you want. What the Bible says is don't feed it. It says he who passes by and meddles in a quarrel, I like that one. Not his own. Hey, I know it's not my fight, but I'll be mad with you. You want to be mad about that? Count me in. It's like one who takes a dog by the ears. Someone says, what happens when you take a dog by the ears? I think it's an experiment you should try this afternoon. And you should have Jonathan video it because he videos everything. And let us see what happens when you do that. But here it is. It's the Golden Corral. You can pick as much. God just says, anger wants to be fed. Put it on a diet and don't feed it. Christine, it's you and me against the world right now. The only one I couldn't even get Phil to say amen. He was dozing in and out. I saw him. He's got 2 babies at home. He can't stay awake during my sermon. It's just one of those things. Watch out for people who fuel it. There are people who are propagators of anger. They propagate it. It says, make no friendship with an angry man. Well, that sure does cut down your selection right now, doesn't it? And with a furious man, do not go, lest you learn their ways. See, anger can be learned. I remember years ago when the church was small and I was the only pastor here. People said, why do you hire more pastors? So they get the experiences and I don't have to have them all by myself. But I remember sitting and talking to this one couple, and as I was talking to this one couple, their marriage was just a total mess, just a total mess, just a total mess. I know yours is perfect, so you can't relate to this, but theirs was a total mess. Every time you turned around, it was a fight after fight after fight. And I remember looking at them, and I'm just having this dialogue, and this guy looked at me, and I said, man, you guys just got to stop this. And he said, but I'm Italian. And I said, we ordering pizza? What's going on here? And he says, I'm Italian. And I said, okay, I get it, thank you, Ancestry.com. I mean, it's great. He said, no, I'm Italian. I said, I've heard it 3 times. What does that mean? He says, don't you know Italian men are just angry? I said, what? He said, I'm Italian, and that's just the way we are. I said, you're angry? I said, it also means that Italian men are going to be all alone. And he just looked at me. And I said, never let your past be your future. See, some of you, I have a friend, he puts it this way. We're currently involved in the Victim Olympics. Who can win gold medal for being the best victim in life right now? In your life, you may have experienced things because of your mama and your daddy. Your past may have been someone else's problem. But how you are in the future is your choice. It's your choice. Maybe you weren't dealt a fair hand, but you get to choose here. People say, well, there's generational curses. Stop it with you. Don't pass anger down to your kids. Just stop it with you. Say, it's going to stop right here. We're just going to put it in. We're going to say, hey, my kids aren't going to do this. My kids aren't. See, I've made some decisions in my life. One of my decisions is, I don't want to be the angry old person. I mean, isn't it true that you watch people when they get older? There's 3 things. They talk about the weather, they talk about their health, and they talk about what they're mad at. I mean, you took those 3 away, old people would just sit there. The weather, just go outside, you'll figure it out. What's hurting? Pretty well everything. Really, you reach an age where you choose a spot that's not. Say, this isn't hurting today, and that's my toe, and then someone steps on it, say, hey, thanks for taking care of that. And being angry. I've decided I just don't want to be the angry old person. Do you know what that means for me? I have to work at it. Because what I found is, the longer you live, the more things you have to be angry about. A little too much truth here. Let's see if we can find a positive place in this message for some of you. I think it's going to be called the ending. But we're navigating towards that. Another thing about anger is that it's contagious. Aren't there some people you wouldn't recognize them if they weren't angry? I mean, you look like Bill. You can't be Bill. Well, I'm Bill. No, you can't be Bill because Bill's mad all the time. I mean, some people, if you took away their anger, they wouldn't have a personality. I mean, it's all they've ever been. They're just angry. They're just mad. They're angry and they're mad. In your life, understand there are things that trigger anger. There are things that do it. When a fool is annoyed, he quickly lets it be known. Smart people will ignore an insult. Boy, wouldn't we like to see that happen? It's just smart people will ignore an insult. See, for some people, it's the past. The more they rekindle it, the angrier they are. You wouldn't believe what I've gone through. You wouldn't believe what I face. You wouldn't believe what I'm dealing with. You wouldn't believe this. It's the past. For some people, it's patterns. And the patterns they're just reliving. It's what they saw and their family forever. Like I said, stop it with you. If there's something negative in your family, don't propagate it. Make a decision that your kids don't have to live like you had to. Places that you revisit, just places that you've been to. There's the movie Forrest Gump. Some of you've seen it, and it's, decades old now, and so a lot of you may not, but Forrest Gump is one of those individuals that just has this sweet spirit about him, but he didn't operate on the bandwidth that other people operated on. And in the middle of this movie, he had this little girl that he had befriended, and they sort of grew up together. Now they're totally grown, and they're going down this road, and they turn on this road, and it's the house that Jenny grew up in. And literally this house has been destroyed. It's just the figure of a house. You can tell someone lived there, but it's just a crater of a house, and nobody lives there anymore. And as soon as Jenny sees it, she picks up a rock and she throws it at it. And then she picks up another rock and she throws it at it. And she picks up another rock and she throws it at it. She keeps throwing these rocks until there's no more rocks around her. And as she throws these rocks, because this was the house she was abused in, Forrest looks at her and says, sometimes there's just not enough rocks. For some people, there's just not enough rocks. See, the past is seldom a pleasant future. So don't let it be. Stay away from the hot zone. If someone has a hot temper, let him take the consequences. If you get him out of trouble once, you'll have to do it again and again. Someone say amen. See, some of you just need to figure out what the hot spots are you. For some of you, it's the news you listen to. Turn it off. For some of you, it's someone who emails you. Shut it down. For others, it's an Instagram. Just don't buy into it. See, you got to figure out what your hot spots are. You got to say no to them. There isn't a shortage of things to feed your anger. You've got to be wise enough to say, I'm not going to eat. When anger becomes your appetite, you lose control of your life. Please understand, there is no future in anger. Our future is found in God's love. If anger could make your life better, your life would be perfect. If anger could make this world better, this world would be perfect. God's love makes you better, and it's what makes this world better. Let's choose it.